With just a wink, the woman captivates the man, who orders everyone irrelevant out of the room
just to be safe.
After he finishes his checks, she dances seductively beside him, lowering his guard. Suddenly, she pulls out a weapon, charging at the nearby henchman. She slashes upward with a razor-sharp sword, killing with a single deadly strike. She grabs a gun from a corpse, using the man as a human shield against incoming fire. Then, she takes aim, each shot eliminating an enemy. Who is this woman, and why is she slaughtering these men? Days earlier, police detective Say and his partner Jax are staking out a road. Spotting their suspect, Coco, they spring into action, blocking his path with their car. Coco shoots Jax, wounding him, and speeds off. Say, a sharpshooter with uncanny precision, fires a single shot that sends Coco's car flipping through the air, crashing in a roll. Finding the car empty, Say gives chase. With his skills and instincts, Coco has no chance of escape. Cornered, Coco takes a bystander hostage to threaten Say. But the bystander isn't ordinary. He elbows Coco in the gut, knocking him down. In the struggle, Coco shoots the bystander, then tries to grab a young boy as a new hostage. Say ends it with a shot to Coco's throat, his body tumbling into the city's surrounding river. Meanwhile, Z, our protagonist and a professional assassin, takes a job from her intermediary, Finn, to eliminate an enemy of his boss. She visits a private tailor shop, where she shares a close bond with the owner. Holding his bruised hand, she asks about the thugs who roughed him up and whether they've returned. The old man, curious, asks how Z handled them. She smirks, saying she used her charm and a massage to make them compliant. He hands her a custom outfit. That night, under pouring rain, Z wears it to a bar. A bouncer frisks her at the door, but she steps inside, scanning the room and spotting her target drinking at the center. On stage, a singer named Jen performs. A man approaches Jen, grabbing her hand, saying, "They sent you to handle this, didn't they?" As Z flirts with Serge, her target, he orders everyone else out. Jen texts Coco but gets no reply, later learning he's dead. Serge has no idea Z is his Grim Reaper. She pulls a Japanese sword from her dress strap, slashing him repeatedly. She doesn't spare the henchmen in the room either, throwing darts at armed guards and leaping to kick them down. Serge, still alive, crawls as Z grabs a gun and heads out from behind the bar. A henchman grabs the barrel and chokes her, but Z strikes his throat, disarms him, and uses his necklace to finish him off. In the chaos, Jen falls, hits her head on a table, and goes blind. Only Z and Jen remain alive in the room. Z points her gun at Jen but can't pull the trigger. Learning Jen is blind, Z spares her, unaware this choice will unleash dire consequences. Z returns to a church, seemingly praying for her sins. Her contract demanded everyone in the room be killed, but Z believes Jen is just an ordinary girl. Finn warns her that anyone left alive in that room is far from ordinary. Z insists on her principle of protecting innocence, but Finn reminds her of her duty and their past promises. When Z asks if Jen deserves to die, Finn sidesteps the question, instead talking about their bond as outsiders, unbound by anything. The rules of insiders don't align with their world, Finn tells Z, urging her to keep working. Meanwhile, Detective Say faces scrutiny from his boss for killing the suspect, Coco. Say argues Coco assaulted a cop and a civilian, even took a kid hostage. Why shouldn't he have taken him out? The police chief disagrees, but after the explanation, Say storms out. Say meets his subordinate, Alves. Sydney, a European officer, joins the investigation. Alves discovers Coco was texting a woman before the chase, who mentioned writing a new song for him. The song in Coco's earbuds, sung by a female artist, isn't online, suggesting it's a demo. The Marseille gang was wiped out the previous day, with Jen, the singer, as the sole survivor. That same song in Coco's earbuds was performed by Jen. Sydney adds that among the victims, one was shot, but 4 others were slashed to death with a Japanese sword. Based on the wounds, Say is skeptical. Could someone really sneak a sword into a bar and use it to take down an armed thug? At the same time, Z prints a fake ID, posing as no one, a U.S. Embassy consul. The next day, disguised, she heads to the hospital. The cops guarding Jen's room check her ID and let her pass. Inside, Z claims to be embassy staff but secretly injects poison into Jen's IV drip. Pretending to care, she asks about Jen's eyes, learning her optic nerve is compressed and swollen, with no certainty if the blindness is temporary or permanent. Z prepares to leave, but Jen asks her to call her mom, worried about causing her distress. moved, Z shuts off the IV valve. Just then, Se arrives to question Jen. To avoid suspicion, Z stays, posing as embassy staff. As Se asks Jen about the killer, Z grips her hidden gun, ready to act. Jen claims someone spiked her drink, so she remembers nothing from that night. A nurse enters, checks on Jen, and unknowingly reopens the IV valve, spiking Z's nerves. When Se asks about Coco, Jen says she doesn't know him. Se's certain she's hiding something. They both leave the hospital. After some small talk, as Z slips away, Se gets a call from the U.S. Embassy. No employee named No One exists. Smirking, Se pulls out his notebook, crossing out the fake name with a grin. Elsewhere, Gobert meets Finn, lamenting a €75 million loss. He was working with Prince Majeb, who's been cut off by his father. Gobert spent his own money on a shipment of contraband worth €75 million, which could have fetched $300 million on the black market, now stolen. To return home, Majeb must face French police, specifically Se, an upright, brilliant detective who's a thorn in Gobert's side. Se visits the hotel where Prince Majeb of Saudi Arabia is staying. Majeb brags about his wealth, having bought the entire hotel for comfort. He's eager to return home to work with his father, but his plane is held by French police. Se demands answers to release it. Days earlier, Majeb's plane landed at Le Bourget at 4:30 p.m., set to fly to Beirut when criminals posing as French customs officers hijacked it, stealing the cargo. Among them was Serge, now dead. Se asks if Majeb knew the robbers. He denies it. When asked about the cargo, Majeb lies, claiming it was nothing, though it was actually a heroin shipment. Se shows photos of Serge's crew, but Majeb insists he doesn't know them. When Majeb keeps playing dumb, Se pulls out a photo of Gobert, a shady Parisian pastor infamous for his crimes. Majeb defends Gobert, saying everyone's just trying to make a living. As Majeb hurries off, Se presses him again. What did the robbers take? Prince Majeb dodges the question, using his royal status to pressure French police into releasing his plane. Meanwhile, Z meets Finn and notices a new Asian woman, Kai Mai, introduced as Rudy's replacement. Kai Mai admires Z, but Finn demands to know why Jen, the woman from the bar, is still alive. Z explains the police showed up, stopping her. She defends Jen, saying she knows nothing and can't identify the killer. Finn snaps, "She's lying, and you're slipping. The problem is she's not talking." Seeing Z's hesitation, Finn recalls giving her a gun years ago to kill a pimp. Spotting her raw potential, he molded her into a perfect killing machine, but now that machine seems to have a heart. As two assassins head out to kill Jen, Z steals a motorcycle and chases them. After a thrilling pursuit, she rams their car into a roadside building, forcing it to stop. The assassins try to flee, but Z races to the hospital. There, Se visits his partner Jax, sneaking in 2 beers. Their conversation reveals they're still tracking the heroin from the prince's plane. Posing as a nurse, Z brings food to Jen's room and warns her that someone wants her dead over the bar incident. To survive, Jen must trust her. Jen nods. Z knocks out the guard outside and wheels Jen out. Just then, the 2 assassins arrive, firing wildly in the hospital. Hearing gunfire, Se rushes over. Z tells Jen to stay quiet, attaches a silencer to her gun, and shoots from the floor to trigger the alarm, then retreats with Jen. Se faces one assassin, evacuates a nurse, and drops him with a few shots, but the assassin's wearing a bulletproof vest. Z shoots a fire extinguisher, creating chaos. Se tackles the assassin, and after locking eyes with Z, she escapes with Jen. Se disarms the assassin with a few moves, throwing him into a room. Z leads Jen to a lab, sensing someone behind her. It's Se. They aim guns at each other while Jen, clueless, sits in the middle. Se realizes Z is protecting Jen. When the assassins reappear, Z and Se each take one down in sync, then turn their guns on each other again. Se's out of ammo, but Z always keeps one bullet. She knocks him down, sees him faking unconsciousness, and points her gun at his head. Se opens his eyes, only to take another hit and pass out for real. Z flees with Jen to her safe house. The next day, Prince Majeb learns from Gobert that Se brought Gobert's photo to the hotel, infuriating him. Majeb can flee to his father, but Gobert, having lost €75 million, has few options. He wants to make an example to deter enemies. When Majeb wavers, Gobert, enraged, chokes him. A guard intervenes, but Gobert stabs him repeatedly with a fork until Finn stops him. Gobert orders Finn to have Z kill Majeb. Meanwhile, Z talks with Jen, who realizes Z was the assassin from that night. Z admits it. Jen reveals the bar group stole heroin from a private jet, including her boyfriend, Coco. He hid her in a car to watch them handle the haul, but she doesn't know where it's stashed, only that it's in a cheap Paris rental complex. Coco opened a warehouse door from the inside, stole the entire load, and called someone to say he had the goods, following instructions to deliver it to a Paris prison. Knowing Jen isn't innocent, Z takes her to a church, pulls a gun, and orders her to sing, yet Z, torn inside, can't pull the trigger. When Finn arrives, Z lies, saying she killed Jen and burned the body. Finn hesitates, withholding the order to kill Majeb. In truth, Z hides Jen in a confessional, unable to kill her because she resembles Z's late sister. Elsewhere, Say is chewed out by his boss for the hospital shooting. He insists the prince is suspicious, and sniffer dogs detected something on the plane. Say reveals the 100 kilograms of heroin on board is worth €350 million, and they've been tracking Majeb for months. The chief counters that the US recently bought €1 billion in Saudi oil, and the Saudis purchased equivalent military weapons. If the prince's case ruins this deal, the losses would be massive. Furious, Say storms out but keeps digging. He finds camera footage of Z posing as an embassy worker and appearing near the bar that night. They learn she frequents a fast food joint. That day, Z visits the fast food place. As she steps out, Say's waiting. He grabs her newspaper, spotting an English crossword puzzle. At the station, with food in tow, they chat. Say helps Z finish the crossword, then shares that 4 years ago, he was shot during a drug bust. His team took time to reach him, so he asks Z how she'd handle it. She says she'd ask distracting questions, and they say in unison, "What size shoes do you wear?" It dawns on them, Z saved Say back then. Say asks where she lives. Z offers a deal, return her crossword, and she'll take him to Jen. She escapes by sliding down an advertising tarp, but Say, unsurprised, just smiles. Meanwhile, Gobert hosts a party. Finn arrives, and Gobert demands why Z hasn't acted. Finn, distracted, stares at a glass of wine until it reaches Gobert. As Gobert grabs the wine glass, a waiter shoots him dead. It's Kai Mai, clearly orchestrated by Finn. Turns out, Finn masterminded the heist, not the prince. Meanwhile, Z returns home to find Jen gone, the fish tank shattered, and fish on the floor. She scrambles to save them, putting them back in water. Checking the cameras, she sees Jen kidnapped by 2 burly men. Finn texts her to meet. On Say's end, his team hands him photos exposing dirty cops in the precinct. He rushes to the office, catching them brazenly sorting heroin right there. Realizing something's off, Say bolts. The corrupt cops chase him, mimicking Z. He grabs an advertising tarp to slide down but loses his grip, crashing to the ground. He scrambles up and escapes. Z drops the fish off with the tailor, who warns her dirty cops were looking for her and left a phone number. Soon, she meets Finn, who admits to kidnapping Jen. Z confronts him, saying he has the heroin. Finn praises her smarts, claiming they'd make a great team. But Z drops a bombshell. She wants out. Furious, Finn says she's gone too far for Jen. Z demands to know what it'll take to free her. Finn orders her to kill Say, who'll be at stall 43 in a farmer's market. Z sets up her sniper rifle, spotting Say with his best friend, Jax. But Kai Mai's ready too, poised to kill Z if she fires. Z calls the number from the dirty cops. Jax answers. She exposes his betrayal, demanding he hand the phone to Say or die. As Say takes the call, Z shoots Jax. Kai Mai fires but hits a decoy. Moments later, Kai Mai's shot dead. Say, reeling from Jax's betrayal, forces him to reveal the heroine's location. Z and Say team up. Jax, in the back seat, refuses to talk until Say slams the brakes repeatedly, breaking him. Jax spills the location, and they dump him at a hospital. Z ruthlessly takes out criminals, leaving Say reprimanded for firing his gun. Stunned, they enter a warehouse, driving off with the drug-laden truck. Z calls Finn, exposing his plot to kill her. Finn feels no remorse, saying her betrayal sealed her fate, and he's got a new killing machine. Z threatens to parade the heroin around town if Finn doesn't release Jen. Finn panics. Z enters a church, lighting a candle to confess her sins. Finn arrives with a posse of assassins. She puts a gun to his head. He shows Jen on his phone, under threat. Say, eavesdropping, rigs a bomb in the truck. Z kicks Finn down, shoots at tombstones, kicking up dust into a female assassin's eyes. The assassin fires wildly, accidentally hitting Jen. Z takes out a biker assassin and rushes to Jen, but more killers close in. Sei crashes in with the truck, mowing down assassins with gunfire. Finn shoots out a tire. Sei joins Z, and as enemies approach, he detonates the bomb, destroying the heroine. Z and Sei retreat into the church, seamlessly taking out dirty cops. Pigeons fly past Sei's face, distracting him just enough to dodge a fatal shot. Out of ammo, Sei uses his gun as a club, smacking Finn and slamming him into a pillar. They brawl. Sei chokes Finn, who gouges his eyes. Sei lifts Finn, slamming him to the ground. Z's gun is kicked away by a female assassin. Z dodges bullets, grabs a dead man's gun, but the assassin wrestles it from her. In the struggle, Z leaps onto her, using her weight to pin her, kicking the gun away. The assassin overpowers Z, but when she swings a knife, Z blocks it, knocking her back. Another armed enemy enters the church. Sei tries to grab the gun but takes a bullet to the gut. Jen, hearing Sei's scream, miraculously regains her sight. The fight rages on. Sei takes down two enemies but is ambushed by Finn. Z, locked in combat with the female assassin, can't help. Finn stabs Sei's stomach. Z sees it, vaults over pews, grabs a gun, steps on Sei's back to leap, and chokes Finn, shooting him. The female assassin interrupts, stopping a second shot. Sei crawls to his bag. Z tackles the assassin, flipping her, yanking her braid to snap her neck. Suddenly, Z's hit. Finn's still alive. With a bitter smile, she asks, "What size shoes do you wear?" Sei gets it, tossing her his gun as Finn's distracted. Z catches it, shooting Finn between the eyes, killing him. His body falls like the god he worshipped. Z blows out the candle. The tailor stitches Z's wounds, offering to teach her his trade. Days later, through a telescope, Z watches Jen reunite with her mother, holding only the scope, not a gun. Meanwhile, Sei, recovering, is pressured by his boss to transfer departments. Sei threatens to expose Prince Majeb's drug trafficking unless he's reinstated. As his boss leaves, a phone hidden in a food tray rings. Z says she's starting a new job and will send photos once settled. Sei pulls out the crossword, revealing the final word, rebirth. Z smiles, tosses her scarf, and walks into a new life. This is the full plot of The Killer, 2024. What did you think? Comment 1 if you loved it, 2 if it's just okay. Thanks for following along. See you next time.
Second letter E, fifth letter R.